Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the Queers of Time podcast.
I'm Matt.
I'm James.
I'm Kenny.
And I'm Kat.
And this is a podcast to talk about all the gay stuff in the Wheel of Time.
Because we're gay and we like the Wheel of Time. And as always, thank you to our fellow venator of Serene, Charlie, Lux, and John. Thank you very much for the support.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So, today on The Queers of Time, we discuss the latest episode of the show, Season 3, Episode 5, Tel'aran'riod, which I only know how to pronounce because Kate Redding is a sweetheart who helped me through it during WatCon. Anyways, in today's episode, Rand is naughty, Egwene has yet to meet a rule she can't break, Perrin continues to be interesting, and Matt proves to be a shockingly good friend.
Yeah. And because we keep forgetting that whenever we're recording for the episode, we're going to start with a section that does not contain any spoilers for the book. So if you have not read the book and you're only watching the show, this is a safe place for you. And at the end of the episode, we'll have a book spoiler section that may be big or may not be. It depends, but we'll warn you so you can leave before getting spoiled. Yeah.
Yay.
Yay.
For once, we said it at the start.
Look at us.
Look at that.
5 episodes in, and we've got it.
5 episodes into.
We're functioning.
We've got it.
I'm actually surprised that your that your summary didn't mention how gay that episode was. Like, I don't know. It felt like, for me, it was a big thing of the episode. It's like, oh, gay thing everywhere. But that's fine. It was just my thing.
Well, the thing is, at this point, this is like the gayest show that I watch, including what I call my gay firefighter show. So, like, I just sort of take the gayness into account as an assumed given at this point. And also, somebody's not had a lot of sleep the last few nights, so...
I feel that. By what do we want to start? There's basically 4 plot lines here. That's whatever's going on in the Yale Waste, whatever is going on the Two River, whatever is going on that Seafolk ship, and whatever is going on the White Tower. Do we have a preference, or where do we want to start?
We can start. I would like to start with the waste because I think there's the most there.
That's what I was leaning towards as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It started off with Aviendha being given the task of like having to watch Rand from like morning till night. And I thought that was very, very good.
Technically, it started off with Moraine and the Sarkhanum, but it's fine. We can start with Aviendha.
That part was very boring. It was a very boring cold open.
Yeah.
It's like Moraine is a cat. She's going to play with the toys that she shouldn't be playing with. She's going to bat at them and roll them under the couch, and we're going to move on to...
I still thought it was pretty.
Oh, yeah,
It was very pretty, and I think
it looked very good, yeah.
It served a purpose. I think we're going to need to know exactly how powerful Sarkhanum is for later in this season.
Yeah.
I assume it has to play a role.
Yes, yeah, and it was a really good contrast to seeing Moraine attempt to use it versus Latra. It was so effortless. It was like breathing for her. And Moraine, like there was a moment where it seemed like she was kind of in control, and then very quickly not that. And it was too much. And so it's a really good contrast to sort of visually show how much has been lost throughout the centuries between the Age of Legends and now. In terms of channeling and the, I guess, methods that people use to channel. And so that was cool to see. I thought that was a good contrast.
Yeah. And I mean, seeing the Sarkhanum in action kind of explained why I saw Lanfear wants it, because she's the person we heard it from first. So yeah, I don't know. I so liked like that little moment between Lan and Moraine, but I just love their relationship this season. So yeah. But we can go back to Aviendha, James.
No, I just, like, in the cold open section, I just wrote orb, very powerful orb, boring cold open.
Yeah, I mean, it's It's a gorgeous cold open. I just don't necessarily think it's something that like I would spend lots of time talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good.
Especially when you compare it to the other cold opens that we've gotten up until this point. It seems kind of comparatively, not a lot happens. The first episode we got the shredding. The second episode we got
more gays.
The third episode we got
Forsaken
social.
The Forsaken, and then the fourth episode we got. I mean, that long ass. Is that even a cold open? The episode just started.
I don't consider episode 4 a cold open.
Yeah.
The whole thing felt like a cold open.
But yeah, I just thought it was funny how Aviendha got Rand's duty. And yeah, it was very true to it happens in the books. It's not a book spoiler. It's what happens in the books, and she's very much like has the same reaction in the books too.
Melaine was so sassy in a way, like is not one of us, no thanks to you. And so I cannot teach someone unwilling to learn. Cannot.
Yeah.
I like Melaine.
I like Melaine too.
Melaine is not taking her shit at all.
Melaine does not give a shit. Melaine is like unimpressed by everything. If Melaine smiles, I will like fall down.
I generally have liked the Aiel and the Wise Ones this season. Like the Wise Ones were one of my least favorite aspects of the books because they're just so mean without like think, oh, like, yeah, Slay Queen, you're sassy. Like, no, they're just mean. And it's like they're one note. But like in the show, they have personalities and their strictness is more clearly tied with a desire to teach and not just like a power trip.
I think in general the Aiel have more personality on the show. Like it's I feel I care more about the Aiel, both as like individually and also as a culture, which is something that I did not feel reading the series. It's Aviendha particularly. She looked so unbelievably annoyed pretty much the entire episode, which is exactly as it should be, and it was so entertaining. And just like Rand kind of looking at her sort of bemused, like he's like, okay, I don't know what to do with this situation. Like I don't know what you want me to do here.
Like she hates him and is like, why did I do to deserve that?
Right.
Yeah.
I loved Cold Rocks Hard.
Cold Rocks Hold?
Cold Hard. Stone Cold Rocks.
Cold Rocks Hold.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Whatever the fuck that place is called.
I literally just said it. It's Cold Rocks Hold.
Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Cold Rocks Hold.
Cold Rocks Hold.
Oh, I love it so much. Like it reminded me of a bit of Mesa Verde, and which is a abandoned indigenous settlement in Colorado. It's literally a cliffside village, a village built into a cliff. I just love the set so much. It was gorgeous.
Yeah.
It was very beige.
I mean, yeah, desert.
Well, yeah, but I think it reflected. I think it reflected the environment and just showed how the Aiel work with their environments as opposed to like wetlanders working against it. And sometimes
I really liked when they arrived to Cold Rocks Hold, and there's a bunch of Aiel hidden among the rocks. Like I didn't notice all of them on my first watch, and when rewatching, I was like pausing and say, okay, where are all of those Aiels? I thought it was really well done.
Yeah, it really feels like it felt like a real community, like it felt like a real dwelling place. It didn't feel just like a sort of set piece and sort of they just plopped it there. There was obviously a lot of thought that went into it, which I really appreciated. And seeing people welcome back, welcome the others back home, and I liked it a lot. The little girl was very cute.
Yeah, that girl was very cute.
Yeah.
I just on a general side, like I felt like this episode actually gave us a lot to care about the Aiel. Because it was a slow episode on the Aiel side, but it gave us some time to stay with their culture, spend a meal with them. You learn a lot about people when you're spending a meal with them. And we literally do that in this episode.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Melindra, when they arrived, I did appreciate how they presented the roof mistress, Leanne. Another shade of my heart. I actually like that sentence. I don't know why.
I think it's so sweet. It makes it. That was one of the things. Like every time I read it in the book, I was like, "Oh, this is really sweet, actually."
Mm-hmm.
And I like that they're saying it a lot in the show too. There was a lot of love in that scene. It was very cute.
It's funny because when I remember the books, in the books, the Ailes felt kind of cold and not really into like PDA. And it feels the show is a bit more open on that, which I do appreciate.
Yeah.
So
I was waiting for James to say something because it looked like you were.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You were thinking, like, it looked like you were about to say something.
I was thinking about like whether or not the show Aiel or the book Aiel were like puritanical-ish, and I mean, I was trying to think if they were more puritanical than anybody else in the books, and I don't know if I necessarily would consider yes.
I don't think so because, like, for example, maybe I'll cut that, but like, there's some maidens that sleep with one of the characters that actually is not in the race anymore. And like, it doesn't seem to bother Yael particularly. Like, they don't make a big deal out of that.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean like they kiss their partner in front of other people, for example.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, and the books are also like, they're about as sultry as a wet mop. I mean, the series was written by a man who got his kinks out by way of having characters get spanked and not like sex scenes. So, like, I think anything is going to be a little more sexual, sexy wexy in the show than the books.
I mean, kissing someone is not partially sexual, but sure.
But more like
I kiss everybody.
physical.
It just like it's about, like, for example,
affectionate then.
Yeah, affectionate. Like Ruroc, even at the meal, Ruroc leaning towards a roof mistress. That's not sexual. That's PDA that you don't do in every culture.
Well, I'm sorry. I take back my sexual comment then.
No, that's fine. It just, anyway.
Was there like an explicit moment where Egwene was introduced as an Aes Sedai, or was it just an assumption?
I think it's an assumption they're making.
I think so
Okay.
too. Yeah. I think it's an assumption. It could be that there was a conversation and we didn't see it. But there was a conversation. I think they probably just assumed.
Because it also happens. We can talk about it later, but it also happens on the boat, on the Sea Folk ship, where they assume that the girls are Aes Sedai, and I'm like, and
nobody corrects them.
Well, nobody corrects them, which is fine.
I mean, I think it's one of the reasons why the show has accepted having a ring, because then they basically hang around with their ring and people are like, oh, there must be Aes Sedai, and they don't go further than that.
Right, but the ring doesn't have a stone in it, and I would feel like people would recognize that, but maybe not, because it's not like they're getting a really good look at it.
The Aiel may not. Yeah. The Aiel or actually the Sea Folk, neither of them may not, because they very specifically do not interact really with other, like, their interactions with anyone outside of their own culture is fairly limited.
Yeah.
And so it's possible that they just don't know. And then, of course, Egwene or Nynaeve or Elaine, like, they're not going to correct them because they want they're not going to correct it, so they get the perks of that. I noticed that too.
So we get to see more, like, we get to finally get into Tel'aran'riod.
Which I thought was depicted really, really well. Like, I liked like, they're doing a different thing, and we kind of finally see what the posters are all about, because I think it's the same Tel'aran'riod effect that they're going for the dream world, where everybody kind of, like, ripples into these little, like, ribbon? I don't know how to describe it, really. But the way that, like, Egwene changed into that armor was super cool.
It was.
Cool.
And changed right back. Like,
Yeah.
Our girl's a prodigy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like that they kept that in.
Takes too much too fast.
Yes.
Egwene is the meme of, like, that girl standing in front of a door that says "Do not enter," and she's like, "That sign doesn't apply to me because I can't read." Like,
Oh, you mean
Yeah.
DW from the hit children's show Arthur?
yes, that. Yes.
Matt?
Look, Arthur was a little bit after my time. But yes.
That's it?
Well,
Arthur was bopping and grooving when I'm older than you. I was watching Arthur.
maybe before my.
I was also watching Arthur, but I'm younger than you guys by a couple of years.
I don't know, honestly. I honestly don't know.
I wasn't watching, but I'm French. So.
Yeah, I'm like, Kimmy's over there being like, one, I'm younger than all of you, and
Yeah.
two, I'm French.
I'm French, so
No way. Yeah.
doubly no.
Does anyone... Oh, go ahead.
One thing that I really liked when they get into Tel'aran'riod, there's a bunch of flashing images.
Yeah, the little ghosty children.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even talking about the ghosts. The ghosts are very interesting, which I'm wondering if it's just people like dreaming. But like, there's always like 2 or 3 images that quickly flashes before they wake up in Tel'aran'riod or in the
Right.
dream, like when she dreams with Moraine.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't paused to look at the images, but I thought it was a very interesting effect. I like what they're doing there.
Yeah, I just kind of like assumed it was like how the mind kind of wanders when you're like trying to go somewhere.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't paused to look at what specifically the images are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was really impressed with Tel'aran'riod. I like that they kept in that, that the thing about the clothes changing, because that was always something that I really liked in the books too. About the clothes being a depiction of what the dreamer is feeling. And that Egwene in that moment, understandably, was feeling very, was afraid. And so she manifested armor for herself.
Gold armor, too.
Gold armor, yes.
Because she has to do it in style.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I mean, part of me thinks it was just like the Amerlin from the previous episode or 2 episodes ago.
Mm-hmm.
Right, episode 1.
From episode 1, actually, yeah.
That's right.
Oh, never mind, yeah.
I think it was, the similar dress and she had in
I
a
think so.
accepted
Her
test.
test, yeah.
Yeah. I liked that, like, the cart falling. It's a tiny thing, but in the books, it's repeated that there's things moving, and because Tel'aran'riod is a bit unpredictable like that, I did like that they did that.
Yeah. It's scary. It's
kind of.
It was kind of spooky. I was like,
It's spoopy.
It's unsettling. It's like maybe scary. Yeah, scary is maybe not the right word, but like it's unsettling.
Mm-hmm.
It very much felt like you had to be it was a place you need to be very, very cautious in, which it is. Yeah.
It's a uncanny valley is what I call it.
Yeah.
And like when Lanfear shows up and she like there's a time skip because suddenly she's there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's Lanfear.
Yeah.
Because she believed that she was closer.
Yeah.
Basically.
Exactly.
The next note I have is about Moraine and Lan's conversation, so I'll wait until we get there.
I mean, after that, like, Egwene basically leaves the dream world. She learns that it's a Forsaken that is following her. We already knew that. There's not much to say about that. I think in the remaining part of the way, there's Lan and Melindra having a discussion about Malkir, which I thought was sweet. It was pretty short, but
It was effective.
Always nice to see Lan learning about where he's from, and yeah.
Yeah, I didn't get the impression that Melindra was very much older than Lan, but apparently she is.
Yeah.
The actress is actually several years older than the actor for Lan.
Huh. Well,
Okay, so she would remember.
She's like 3-4 years older.
Okay.
So you could have like a 6 years old. Yeah.
She would remember like a little bit of her childhood in
Yeah.
Malkir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We also have a little moment between Rand and Egwene that was awkward as fuck. Where they kiss and you're like, guys, you need a discussion. But I think the discussion is coming up next episode.
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Oh, yes. They're trying so hard to cling to this, even though everything and kind of everyone is telling them this is not it. This is not a sustainable relationship anymore as
Like,
it exists.
How much more does Bear have to say to Egwene? Like,
Right?
Bear's been like, your paths differ. You no longer need to follow him, Egwene Sedai. Like, Bear's gonna be like,
Bitch.
he's not the one, girl.
Girl, move on.
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's
But at the same time, like, I understand Egwene because
Oh, me
like,
too.
they had some back and forth. Of course you do. They had
No.
some like Rand and Egwene in the first season. It was, oh, we're together, or we're not together, oh, we're together again, and that was a bit tiring. But then like Rand died and she lost him, and now he's there again, and she doesn't want to lose him again. So there's really coming back to what was comfortable,
Yeah.
but they both are realizing that this is a thing of the past and they need to leave that past behind. It just, nobody wants to be the one to start the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, because at the end of the day,
It's a pre-breakup phase.
That's the thing.
yeah, they're still kiddos. Like, this is still their first relationship.
Yeah.
Well, except for Rand.
Yeah. And like the funny thing about situations like that is sometimes if you don't initiate it, you are forced to do it. Things happen where you are forced to do it, and that is unfortunately going to be the case with Rand and Egwene.
And after that, yes, we have this conversation between Moraine and Lan.
Which I thought was incredibly touching. Like, I didn't have many notes on it specifically. I just thought it was really touching how Moraine, like, fully opened up to Lan and was like, look, this is what I saw in Ruidian. Everything we've done is, like, meant for nothing. And then Lan's like, well, do you die tonight?
Mm-hmm.
And Moraine's like, well, probably not. And he's like, well, cool. Then let's enjoy tonight.
Let's get
shit-faced. Lit.
Did you guys notice, like, the look he gives her when she asks for another drink? It's really like...
Yeah.
He's like, oh.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it's very sweet. I really like the way that they've sort of adapted their relationship for the show. I think it works a lot better, because they are much more like they're much more on equal footing, I think. And there's much more of like a give and a take with their relationship. That doesn't feel too horribly one-sided, especially this season. They are in a really, it's very sweet, and I think it's necessary considering what particularly Moraine what they both went through last season. It makes sense that this is the place that they'd be in, and that Lan is like, he very easily could have panicked and said like, no, you're not going to die. This is not going to happen. And he's just like, well, is it happening tonight? Okay, well, then we're gonna have a nice night and we're not gonna think about anything else.
Yeah, and I think it's even more touching after season 2, as you said, because I think Moraine at the end of the first season, if she had learned that, she wouldn't have told Lan. I don't know conjugation. But after all they went through in season 2, they have been more open with each other, and that's really where it's paying off, because now she's actually being honest about what happened in Reading, which is nice. Communication in my Wheel of Time.
Never.
It's happening.
After that, in the wait, it's mostly a lot of dreams. Do we want to go through all of them? Like, I mean, there's basically Lanfear and Rand having a scene.
I did have a note about that because I thought it was really sweet that Rand admired Lanfear for being a woman in STEM.
I was going to say the same.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very sweet. He was so... The thing is, Rand is so fucking genuine. He's like...
Yeah.
He was genuinely like, hey, you were really cool.
He was like, you were fucking awesome. You just wanted an equal power for everybody. I saw that person. I saw that person back then. I saw that person in Kyrian. And Lanfear's like, I love you.
Get yourself a woman in STEM, fellas and gals.
Yeah.
There's one right there if anyone's looking for one.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, Rand, sweet city boy, I would say, is... Okay, my heart will always be fond of the paladin archetype with a nose of redemption. And that's very much Rand Rhino, believing that maybe there's a way for Lanfear to go back to the lights.
Yeah.
I, however, don't think that even if Lanfear was to break her dark oath, it would still be about ruling the world or something.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like he's a bit naive there, but I can't blame him because she's manipulating him and she's 3,000 years older than him. She's grooming him, basically.
She's very good at this. She's very, very, very good at this. To the point where, like, I find myself getting sucked in and I'm just like, oh, look at her. Like, she's doing her best. Look, like, she had, like, a really tough break and, she obviously...
Yeah, she's had it real bad.
She's had it real bad, and... and
it's not her fault that her STEM research broke the world.
Shit happens. I mean, what are you gonna do? And then we'll get a scene of her, like, choking out Egwene, and I'm like, oh yeah. Okay. I'm back.
I'm back.
Lanfear would break her vows to the Dark One and pledge to the Light, and then immediately choke a bitch just because.
Yeah.
And then flay somebody alive just because.
Yeah, well.
Just because.
I did have a note there being like, Rand making out with everyone tonight. Egwene, Lanfear, who's next? Like, because this is literally right after he fell asleep after making out with Egwene.
Yeah. He's a busy boy.
So
what a busy guy.
I saw someone was complaining about Rand cheating on Twitter, and I was like,
oh my God. I think we need to...
No, Rafe does not hate Rand, okay? Let's just
oh my God.
Stop with that. It's a bit silly.
The show discourse on Blue Sky has been fine since the start, but going over to Twitter and seeing people saying, well, Rafe clearly hates Rand because he's been put in the back burner of the episode. I'm like, yes, episode 4 had no Rand in it at all.
Rand?
There was no Rand. There was some guy prancing through some pillars, but that wasn't Rand. I mean, surely. So it's like the Twitter people.
I don't know why y'all are going on Twitter.
Because
that place is rotten.
Oh, I just heard about it through a group chat. I have not logged into Twitter in a while.
Nor have I.
I am better than that.
There was some stuff going down on Twitter in the Wheel of Time fandom, and I had to see it firsthand. And like the psychic damage I took from the Wheel of Time people on Twitter, let me tell you.
We'll have to talk about some of the drama later on because there's a point that I like to make when we'll reach the Two Rivers section.
Okay.
But I've been going back to Twitter mostly because I want this show to be renewed. So I was like, hey, maybe let's see whether it gets some support there where still some mainstream people are. And it's just really a whiplash between Blue Sky and Twitter because it's like when you leave a toxic relationship and then you go back to see that person and you're like, oh shit, that really was toxic. Like living a toxic environment and then you're enjoying your life and then you're going back and you're like, oh yes, this place makes everyone angry about the shittiest thing ever.
It's like, so there's the horseshoe theory. There's the horseshoe political theory where, like, if you go far right and far left enough, you sort of meet, like, you're sort of doing the same thing. I think Twitter has proven the horseshoe theory for the Wheel of Time fandom because I cannot distinguish between the book cloaks and the toxic fans that were doing their nonsense over on Twitter. Like,
it's like some people are like, but we are still allowed to criticize things. And I'm like, yeah, but if the only thing you do is criticize things, that, like, why are you even talking about the show? That's not healthy anymore. Like, it's like, yes, I like the episode, but let me spend all of my energy on that tiny thing that I hated. And I'm like, why? Yeah. So yeah, I'm still on Twitter because there's a lot of sort of Terrain fan, and I love their enthusiasm. And like people who's discovering the show, and I loved that part. I wish I could just not see the book part, actually.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
I get fed things through group chats, and I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
I'll just say there's a certain contingent of the fandom on Twitter that is indistinguishable from book cloaks, despite the fact that they are not book cloaks.
Yeah.
But the thing is that some of those people are people that I used to talk to a year ago, and they were perfectly okay. And I'm like, what happened?
They spent too much time on Twitter.
Well, I think that's what it is. Like, when you're kind of around the same kinds of people and you talk to the same kinds of people and you're just, at a certain point, you're just feeding off of other people's negativity. And it's just, you're just letting things fester and letting bitterness grow, and you're not finding joy in anything else. And like, it's not it's not healthy.
No.
Like when people say like you need to touch grass, you need to find other things to find joy in, because if this is your end all and be all, anytime something goes wrong, you are going to spiral, and that's not healthy. You need other things. It's not I love this show, but it is not it's not the only important thing in my life.
Right.
Like, you need other things.
And people online will very often say the weirdest shit and then defend it by saying, well, am I not allowed to critique the show? And we'll get to that later with a specific scene with a specific Aes Sedai and her warder in the Two Rivers.
Yeah. Anyway, Moraine asked Egwene for help to reach Swan.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, let's just pause there. Moraine asks for help.
Right?
Listen.
It's truly
gross.
If there was ever proof that there is a creator, this is it. Because Moraine
asks for help.
Truly.
My God. My eyes.
It's like,
I could not believe it.
If there was a prophecy of these are the 7 signs that Tarmon Gai'don is near, like sign number 5 would be a small blue woman asks for help.
A small blue woman? Is she a Smurf?
I guess. Moraine is a Smurf.
No, and my favorite part was like how Egwene just got her one lesson in the dream world, and then Egwene is like, okay, let's do this, Moraine. I got this.
She's like, I don't need to follow rules.
It's so funny.
But also, like, Moraine just went out to drink with her best friend, and then was like, I need to talk to my ex-girlfriend right now.
I need to talk to my ex. Moraine is drunk dreaming. Oh my God.
That's the only way she's brave enough to drunk dial her ex.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, actually, that's probably right.
That's exactly what's happening, is she's drunk dialing her ex through a teenage girl.
Yeah. Okay, so do you think that it means that Egwene now knows about Moraine and Swan?
100%.
Because
she
knows in which dream they were going. She must have known in which dream to go. So she knows Moraine and Swan are meeting.
I part of me is like, Moraine was just like, I need to tell the Amerlin seat something, and that was good enough for Egwene.
It could be. Egwene is not stupid though.
Well, I think Egwene didn't stick around in that dream. She went around and perved on all of the other dreams.
So Egwene is not stupid, but also she has tunnel vision. So like a very smart person who's experiencing tunnel vision to do things will not necessarily notice. So I don't think she necessarily knows, because she wanted to go be a voyeur in other people's dreams.
So the thing is that I have 2 points there. One is that it is officially known that Swan Sanche has exiled Moraine from the White Tower. So you would think that maybe the Amerlin wouldn't be the best person to talk to. Maybe there's other people in the White Tower that would be interesting. Second thing, this season especially, the show has established that Egwene loves her tea. because there's been a bunch of moments. There's been her talking to Elaine and Nynaeve about how Elaine is well acquainted with the Aiel culture. There was this look that Egwene gave to Matt when Bane winked at Matt after the Maiden Kiss game. There's later on when she's noticing Fail and is like, girls, this girl loves her tea.
Yeah.
I think she might have a hint, but I don't think she's fully put it all together. Or maybe she just doesn't care.
No, I can see that.
Because it's like so odd of it to imagine like that your teacher is actually fucking that other teacher. But
there we go.
Now we get to talk about the actual dream with Moraine and Swan and how, like, do we just need to sob for a couple of minutes?
Oh my God. This was just...
It was so pretty. So good.
Yes, it was beautiful and so unbelievably sad. It's like the part that really got me is when Swan says to Moraine, I wish, and there's this like long pause before she finishes her sentence because she's trying to collect herself and not break down.
Yeah.
And she says, I wish we had never gone to Guitarra's study that day.
Yeah.
It's it's so sad. It's so unbelievably sad. And even though Moraine doesn't say that, I think Moraine kind of feels the same way sometimes, I don't know.
And I mean, there's a few things that were interesting because Moraine starts with there's two things I know to be true. One about how the White Tower needs to bend the knee to round Althor. But later on, like when Swan tries to kiss Moraine and she's like, we can't be mended, not in this life. It felt like that second thing she knows to be true in a way. And that broke my heart, even if I still have hope for plenty of reason. It's very sweet and heartbreaking. And both Moraine's theme and Swan's musical theme were merging together. And like, it's a heartbreak.
Yeah.
I assumed the second thing that she just chickened out of saying was that she's going to die.
Yes.
Yeah. But I think Swan understands with if we can't be mended into this life, when they're basically soulmates, it means that Moraine doesn't think she's going to stick around for long.
Yeah.
Like I think they've both kind of resigned themselves to the fact that one or both of them is going to die well before their time, because of the sort of activities that they have been involved in, like with the search for the dragon and Swan in the tower, and I think they're both kind of just resigned to that. But it doesn't mean that it's not heartbreaking, and it also doesn't mean that they don't have like a fleeting, even if it's like a tiny small hope, that it could still end up okay. They could still end up okay. But it's so sad.
So sad.
It's real sad.
I have hope.
I do too. Yeah,
I still have plenty of hope. I had a few show viewers like asking me on Twitter like whether it was the end, and that was amazing. And I've said that a few times before. Like, this show has proven over and over again that people keeps believing things that turns out to be wrong. So it's not because someone believes something that it's indeed going to happen. Like, Moraine thought she was going to die at the eye of the world or something like that. And still, like, she's still around. So who knows what's going to happen? The show is far from being over, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And after that, we got more dreams that were absolutely freaking cute. And I don't care people who are talking about Egwene being noisy. I understand the feeling. It's very true. But it was very pretty to see.
I don't blame Egwene necessarily, because she just wants to check in on her friends, and she just hasn't necessarily thought about like, maybe this is invading someone's privacy.
Yes.
Maybe I shouldn't do this.
Yeah.
She's like, I can do this. She hasn't asked whether she should.
Egwene is Egwene a messy girl? Yes. Should she have done that? No. Do we love it? Yes.
Yes.
Do we know that she did it intentionally?
Yeah.
I assume she did it intentionally.
Yeah?
Because otherwise she wouldn't have gone to like her 5 closest friends.
I guess so.
Yeah, I think for Nynaeve specifically, the first time she tries, I think she was expecting people to be able to see her so she could talk with them.
Yeah.
And then turns out that it's not always the case, and it doesn't work with any of her friends. So, like, the first one, I think she doesn't have any blame for that one. Visiting then all of your friends, you're like, maybe the first one should have been enough. But at the same time, that shows that she cares for them and she wants to check on them. And all of those dreams were very sweet. Nynaeve and Elnor was very cute and heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Elaine dreaming of freedom on the sea with Avienda, who's never going to step on a boat, by the way.
That was a dream, definitely.
Yeah.
That was definitely a dream, and we know whose dream. Matt giving his sisters and his mom the comfort and happiness they deserve. His mom saying she's proud of him.
Right? Which,
Listen, I can't.
after she just died.
Listen.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there.
Perrin and Hopper, and I was shocked that Fael was already there.
Me too. I'm not mad about it, but
He buried his ring. That's it. He moved on.
Yeah.
Yeah, he buried his ring 2 episodes ago. How long should he wait?
But this is good
Yes.
for Perrin. This is good because
It's healthy.
it's exactly, it is healthy because Fael has, and it was obvious before this, but Fael has made an impression on Perrin. Enough so that like she is in his thoughts. She is literally in his dreams. Which is it's good. I'm happy to see Perrin getting to a place where it like getting out of the self-loathing. At least for his wife's death. I think there's still self-loathing, but it's different now.
Getting over his wife's murder that he committed.
Yeah. Oops.
Oopsies.
It's just a little oopsie.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been like at least a year and a half. So it's.
Well, according to Moraine, it's been years.
It's been years.
She's been in a region where she lived through years and years of.
Yeah.
That's true.
We don't know what happened.
Yeah. Her time may be wonky.
And also a year and a half feels like years ago, to be honest. But yeah, I've known people who recovered from a partner's loss a lot easier. So parents, a year and a half, you're fine, dude. And then there's Rand with Lanfear, who definitely see Egwene.
Oh my god, the way the music changed was everything to me. And the way her, like, because she had this smiling face on the entire time that she was looking at her friends. And then the way that face dropped and she just screamed. And Lanfear could hear the scream.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
I was just like, this shows, like, we go through 4 very touching emotional scenes that like wrap up a lot of emotional story arcs, and then Egwene's like, oh, there's Rand, and then Lanfear's like, who's got the dragon dick now, bitch?
Yeah, exactly.
And Rand is like at Egwene's and Rand's spot from season 1. It's like the betrayal.
It's so good. It's so good. And like Lanfear is just like cat that ate the canary. She is so utterly delighted with this turn of events.
Get you a woman in STEM.
Because Lanfear didn't plan this. Egwene showing up in this dream, that is just the cherry on top of the day that Lanfear is happening. Oh my god.
Yeah. I just want to say also that the soundtrack for all of the dreams was absolutely beautiful. And I wish we could have more album for this season. Apparently, it's only going to be the one that already got released. Yeah. And I'm mad about that one because, gosh, I need that soundtrack so bad.
Yeah.
But that's it.
Same.
Do we want
Anything
to move
else?
to...
I was going to say we move to the tower.
Yeah.
Tower should be pretty quick.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
We just have some lesbianism with Swan smelling Moraine's letter.
I thought you were going to talk about Swan smelling like Elida's roses, but...
I mean, that too.
I mean, Swan is all about the scent.
Yeah. Like, Elida being that dog meme, I know what you are.
Listen.
Yeah, I know what you are. And I wanted to say, like, a dyke.
Wow.
Yeah.
River trash. What?
Listen.
How dare you?
Yeah, River Trash sent me. I paused. And I was like, River Trash?
The elitism?
Elida walked into the Amerlin Seats study and called her a dyke. She called her poor. And she said, you have horrible taste. And then swanned out and was like, goodbye.
And by the way, I'm scheming against you.
Yeah.
Which I find very interesting that Elida is being so open about scheming to Swan.
Well, because she's confident. She's overconfident. Which
she is.
Yeah. That's Elida.
And not as smart as she thinks she is.
Yeah, well.
But that's a later thing.
I'm so concerned about Elida because there's also like a later scene when she's like to Alviarin, if I could show you that ever since she first took the seat, she's been working to destroy this tower from within. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? What do you know, Elida? What do you have on Swan that you're so confident it's going to make you win that you're there willing to tell Swan about it?
I mean, is Elida knowing about Moraine and Swan enough?
It could be.
But I mean, that doesn't mean that she's going to be destroying the tower from within.
I know.
So my thing is, like, it doesn't matter if what Siwan is doing is actually destroying the tower within. All that matters is whether Elida believes that Siwan is destroying the tower, and she can
And that's the key.
therefore stick with her oaths by saying what she truly believes to be the truth.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if Elida somehow found out about Siwan and Moraine's mission, that would be enough.
Mm-hmm. That would do it. Yeah. And it's possible that is absolutely the case. And she is just biding her time right now. But yeah, she's...
Maybe she got a letter that she shouldn't have gotten, something like that. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I was curious actually whether like the elitism on Elida feels very different from what we've seen in the White Tower so far. So I'm curious whether she was the one who turned away Nynaeve's old wisdom from the White Tower. Like, you know, Nynaeve's story in season 1 about her wisdom going to the White Tower and being turned away from being poor. And that doesn't fit like Swan's story. But maybe she, like the first sister she saw was like someone like Elida, who would be like...
Could be, yeah.
Get away, river trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or mountain trash.
Like, calling the Everland Seed river trash is wild. That's wild. Also, like, just, like, acting-wise, I knew this was going to be the case. But watching Sofia Canedo and Shora Akdashlu play off of each other, delicious. So good. It's so much better. I knew it was going to be good, and it's better than I was thinking it was going to be.
It's messy as hell, and I love it.
Oh, it's so messy. It's so messy.
Well, because the very next scene that we get is Lyanna and Siwan, like, barging in on Varen and Adelias, being like, bring me the truth so I can take Elida's head.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn.
Yeah. Like, Swan was very, like she, kudos to Swan, because, like, Elida was baiting her hard. She was hoping that Swan would, like, you know, lose it. And to Swan's credit, she did not. She kept it classy. She kept it demure. But she's like, yeah, it's very telling that, like, literally the next scene after, it's Swan just, like, raging. Like, she is pissed. And she wants Elida out of there because she knows she's like, she is very aware of what Elida is capable of. I doubt that she knows anything of what Elida thinks that she has on Swan. But she knows Elida enough to know that she can twist it. She can take things and twist things to her purposes. And
also, like, Elida being convinced that Moraine and Swan still have something together, when like Swan has been working for years to convince everyone that it's not the case. That's scary a little bit.
Yeah.
I do want to mention a little bit like Adelias, because I like what they're doing there. I feel sad for her, but it's interesting that, like, it's some disability representation in a way. Someone kind of losing some of their mental ability is something that happened. And she's still able to trick Elida. I love Varen saying, my sister can do anything.
Yes, Varen believing in her sister was so nice.
Sweet.
It was so sweet. And also, like, it was, like, she's absolutely confident in what she's saying, but at the same time, you can see the concern on her face. Like, she's still very clearly worried about her sister, but also has confidence that she can do what needs to be done. Elida, in that sort of interaction with Adelias, it's frightening.
Yes.
She's so manipulative. And she is able to switch on and off so quickly and easily.
Well, the way she was like, I'm going to burst your hide, accepted, and then was like so nice to the Adelias. And I was just like, oof, girl, you messy.
She is very messy.
Ooh. Oh, it's good.
Yeah, and then we see her in the 13th depository.
Oh, I was gonna say, sorry.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, I loved Adelias covering up Elida's mouth.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then they're covering each other's. It was.
I giggled so hard at that. I was just like, Adelias is like, shh, be quiet.
It's so good.
Adelias doing what all of us want to do.
Oh my god.
But yeah, they go to the 13th depository. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I wasn't expecting Elida to just kill Amiko. Like,
I know.
But I like that because it fits also what we saw in the cold open of 302. Like, she is ruthless.
Yeah.
There's how Swan and Elida are being portrayed very different.
Yeah.
Oh,
Very
yes.
interesting. Yeah.
And she makes it, and she says very clearly, like, listen, I am not Swan.
Yeah.
I am not Swan. This is not a negotiation. You're going to tell me what I need to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's it.
And then a gray man attacks, which I thought was really well done. And Lyanna kind of like kills him, which is badass. And then Elida says, "You led me here to Swan." And I'm just like, Swan, you are not helping your case.
Swan, you in danger, girl. You in danger.
I don't know. I'm so confused at that because Swan answered, perhaps I've misjudged you, sister.
Yeah.
The sister is nice because, as like, she could say daughter, but she putting her on an equal foot with Elida, which for two people who can't stand each other is pretty nice.
Yeah.
I really don't know how to feel about all of this because there's Elida knowing that the Black Aja is real, and from being led there, I'm not sure whether she's going to think that they were trying to get rid of her. But in that case, what would they heal her? Or whether they were trying to figure out whether she was also Black Aja. Is she going to make the right conclusion to that's what they were trying to check? And in that case, is that really offensive that they were managed to figure out that she was not? That's actually pretty good for you, no?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Elida accepts this. And what she does with this, because it's unclear how Elida is going to go forward from here. I think, unfortunately, it's going to leave Swan with a better view of Elida. Even though, like, Elida, she killed one of the prisoners, one of the sisters, but she's like, Swan was like, oh, she's got to be Black Aja, because the way that she's moving, the moves that she's making here, Black Aja, it's got to be. And now that's very much not the case. And so I think everything that she knows about Elida is kind of, she's reconsidering it, which is a dangerous position for her to be in right now, I think.
And also, like, it changed the problem for being the Black Aja is after Swan, and Elida is a proof of it, to being, we now have two enemies in the tower, the Black Aja and whatever Elida is planning.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I appreciate that the show is setting up the distinction between the two as well for the audience, and so not just for Swan and Lyanna, like it's a distinction between the two, because like, oh, okay, so then what's Elida doing?
Right.
Who knows? Yeah.
Well, Elida's up to scheming.
Elida said a plan to cage Brand, right? Like, and in the same episode, Moraine told Swan the tower needs to bend the knee. So that's a big conflict coming up.
Yeah.
Anything
else on the White Tower?
No.
I don't think so.
Do we want to move to the Two Rivers?
Sure, we can do the Two Rivers. I think it starts with like a scene with Maxim and Alana.
It did. I thought you had your eye on that baker boy, and then Maxim's like, I did, but have you tried the bread? It's fucking awful.
It made me laugh so much because,
oh my God,
man, you are so right there. As a French person, I can say if your bread's not good.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. The French take their bread very seriously. I know this.
Yeah. Bread is like, it's my religion, okay?
Yes. I get it.
And then they learn that it's a time to actually try to save Natty and the girls. Boy, it doesn't go as planned.
So I was curious what Natty was thinking when she tried to like take the keys from Dane Bornhold. Like, did she think she was going to be quiet? But I guess she's really, really desperate. And what else is she going to do?
Yeah.
So never mind.
I think there's so just going by like Natty's facial expressions, I think she was coming to the realization of, because like up until that point, obviously they're scared and whatnot. But I think for her, she was recognizing just how dire the situation is becoming, and she knew that if she didn't do something now, it would be too late.
Right.
And so I think that was kind of the choice that she was making. and it was either she does something or that's it. And I thought it was a very, very good contrast to what we see of Natty at the very beginning of season 1.
Yeah.
When the Trollocs attack, where it's just utterly devoid of courage, and leaves her children to be eaten or whatever, God knows what else. And here we see her essentially sacrificing herself for her children.
And the desperation makes sense because we had 2 conversations between Dane and Valda in this episode and previously. One about like Valda cannot touch them until the reinforcement of the White Cloaks arrives, and just right now, all the reinforcements are about to arrive.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this is a last attempt. It doesn't go well for Natty. But we also learned that one of her daughters apparently is able to channel. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming it's going to be both because I can't tell those girls apart.
I can't either. I assume it's both.
Neither can I. Yeah. And it also wouldn't surprise me if Natty is already aware of this. It was already aware that one or both of them could channel. And that may also have been driving the desperation. And, and I think is... like she's at least able, she recognizes like, oh, they need to think that it's me. They cannot know that it was them. Mm-hmm. And so she at least realizes the danger that they're in.
Back in season 1, there was this big theory about what was a lantern that Natty and Matt light up at bell time. Mm-hmm. And like, I think one of the big theory was maybe it was another kid that, like another girl, for example, that dies from a channeling mistakes or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, maybe that could be something like that. I don't know. It's
that would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah.
And then Dane Bornhold. My note here says, "Ugh, Dane Bornhold, why you gotta be like that? Turning over Natty Cawthon to Eamon Valda. Ew."
Mm-hmm.
Ew. Yeah.
Trash.
He lost a lot of his sympathetic character points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like nobody's gonna get hurt, and no, it's just gonna kill their mom. So great, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, he knew, he had to have known what was going to happen to her, but...
Of course.
There's a few more things that happen in the Two Rivers before we we can talk about it.
Yes.
I'm fine talking with things in order if you want, but
Okay.
I mean, after that, it's a scene with Perrin, Fail, and Bane, Shiad, Alana, Maxime.
Mm-hmm.
I like how they were like, Fael was like, and me. Mm-hmm. And Bane and Shiad are like, and her.
And her. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Very good.
It's hilarious actually, like how tiny she is compared to Perrin, and she got a knife on her throat, and it's like 2 heads higher than her.
The size difference between those two, I will never stop commenting on it.
Oh my god.
Fael is like...
It's so good.
She's the embodiment of that meme of like the tiny little fluffy chick holding a dagger. Except the dagger in this case isn't like a toy knife. It's like covered with blood.
Yeah, exactly.
At least she's not like that vine of that little boy running around a pool with a knife. And what do you have? A knife? No!
Yeah.
Yeah. I did have like a slight thing regarding there's a lot of day to night scenes in this episode that are pretty hard to see.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Like when they're actually filming during the nights, it's actually pretty decent. But you can see like this scene was, I'm pretty sure it was a scene filmed during the day that then was turned to night.
Yeah.
And those are so hard to see.
Oh my god, it's rough.
Yeah, I was noting that, how some of it was just like, like I had to close my windows or close the curtains to like see the screen.
Yeah.
It was bad.
I had to like change a little bit my setup of my screen to change some settings.
Mm-hmm.
But those are pretty complicated. And then we get a very nice discussion between Alana and Maxime.
Yeah.
I will say it's less than 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So James, go for it.
Why does it matter that it's less than 3 minutes?
You'll see. Like, so far we can talk about the scene.
Yeah,
I'll have a rant after.
Yeah, I have that rant. Camille and I have a very similar rant. So
I mean, I saw a little. Okay. Anyway, I just really loved it. Like, I loved how it started off like a really high peak with Alana being like, "We're here because you're not enough." That is that was a low blow, but also incredibly honest.
Yeah.
And that was a nice thing, and it caught Maxim off guard. But it ended up being a really, really touching scene between Maxim and Alana, being like, Alana's just like, we're here because look at the blood of all of the warriors that come from here, this place. And I vowed to myself when I took the ring that I was going to not be unprepared going into the last battle.
Mm-hmm.
And that was just really cool.
It was.
Yeah, it's very good. They are both in very different stages of their grief. And those stages are somewhat incompatible right now. I think up until maybe I think later in the episode, but they're just not meshing, and they're not seeing things from the same perspective. Like Alana is just hyper focused on this goal because she is not able to emotionally deal with the other stuff, and so she is focusing on the things that she can deal with and the things that she can control. And Maxim cannot let go of his anger.
Yeah.
He is still so sad and so angry, and the only thing he can think to do is get revenge, which I mean, that's not going to help, but that doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. Yeah.
It's still a very valid way of dealing with your emotions, I think, given the stage, because it's been like a month.
It's so new. Like it just happened. Of course they're not dealing with it well. But
probably even less than a month because they traveled through the ways and disappeared immediately after the battle, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's what did I want to say? Fuck. It's Maxim wants revenge, and Alana kind of wants to never get hurt like that again. And by that, like by being prepared for it, so that doesn't happen. One sentence from Maxim that just literally shattered my heart was the only thing I've ever cared about is Ivan, and then a very big pause before saying "and you."
Yeah.
Because like we learned in season 2, I think, like he fell in love with Ivan first.
Yeah.
And that's why he became a warder.
And then Alana. Yes, exactly.
So like, he cares about Alana, but there was a clear hierarchy there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he expected for the last battle to be there soon. He just wanted to be with his warder, in a way.
He just wanted to fuck.
And yeah.
He didn't just want to fuck.
I know.
No.
He was in love.
He was in love.
He was in love, and that was the thing he cared about, and he would have done anything that those other two wanted to do, but he didn't care about where they were going or what they were doing as long as they were together.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And no, it's not the case anymore, and yeah.
Yeah, it's rough.
Both Priyanka and Taylor Napier did such an amazing job on that scene.
They really did.
Yeah.
It's this season they've been really great. I've enjoyed a lot of their moments, especially since it's not really something we see in the books. Alana loses a warder in the book, and it seems like nobody cares. And it's grief. Grief is a topic that has come up quite a few times in this show, and because I think it's a topic that matters to a lot of people, and it's an interesting topic to deal, like the raw emotions that you can go through when you're going through grief. But also I want to say that it's a 3-minute scene. If you are annoyed by the screen time wasted in a 3-minute scene, just wait till the next one. Like, do what you were doing when you were reading the book. Skip to the next chapter and shut the fuck up.
I just find it very interesting that some people are complaining about one of the only queer men having screen time and the only Indian woman of a substantial character line count taking up too much of their space on their Precious Dragon show. And I think the fact that Taylor Napier has had to deal with people saying for all sorts of homophobic reasons that he should be on the show less and is somehow expected to gracefully just take it is quite a thing. It is a take.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh so much when I kept reading people being like, oh, you actors shouldn't be in fandom spaces and this kind of thing. And I'm like, okay, so in that case, maybe we shouldn't have fan-casted Shorey. Because, I mean, she was in fandom spaces at all. Like, you can't have, in France, there's an expression that is, you can't have the butter, tu peux pas avoir le beurre, l'argent du beurre, et le lait de la crémière. You can't have the butter, the money of the butter, and the milk that made the butter. You have to make a decision. You can't have, like...
What I have, my favorite saying is, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. You know, if the fandom is going to demand certain levels of interaction with the show and expect that we got our fan cast for Elida to come true, you got to take the other side. Like, actors are not your puppets. They are not there to please you. And if an actor is constantly getting DMs about how he's like homophobic DMs, if he's constantly faced public calls for his character to be killed as one of the few queer men, like recurring characters on the show, and then later gets another call for his character to be cut or to have less screen time, of course he's going to be upset.
And also it's Twitter, which means that whenever he shows up on that platform, I'm sure that Twitter loves showing him anything that is said about his character because like he probably liked a few things, and then Twitter learns and shows you always the things that going to make you the more pissed off ever. And yes, maybe the person he snapped at didn't say a horrible thing. But that's like, that's kind of like every single microaggression you get in your life. The one you snapped at may not be the worst, but it's the one you're snapping at because at some point it's getting too much.
Yeah. And calling for Maxim and Alana to have less screen time is a microaggression, especially in the Maxim thing, because like he has, like, we got the whole discourse of, oh, he should be killed off by Lan, or Lan should kill him in season 2. So like at this point, any calls to like kill off Maxim or reduce his role is a microaggression. It's a homophobic microaggression, whether or not you realize it.
Yeah, and I think I think there are two sort of groupings of people with this. There are people who are very much aware of what they are doing and what they are saying, and their intention is to be cruel and homophobic, and they're fine with that. I think there are some people who are expressing they are expressing themselves very badly.
Yes,
and are trying, what they are trying to say or attempting to say is that there are other parts of the show that they wish would get more screen time, but instead this is what's getting screen time, and that's watching a show, baby.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, that's watching a show, and there are ways for you to
or reading the books.
Or reading the books. Yeah, there are ways for you to express that are productive.
Right.
You know, or sometimes you don't have to say the quiet things out loud. Sometimes you don't have to say anything. Start up a group chat. Start up a group chat with with people who have similar interests to you.
Go on your Discord.
Yeah, go on Discord. There are so many other things that you could do that are much more productive and less hurtful, because I don't think everyone is trying to be hurtful, but like, that's what's happening. And so it doesn't matter if your intention wasn't to be hurtful, the product of it is hurtful.
No, I think people are trying to be hurtful. I think people don't like being called out on that.
Yes, that's very much too.
And the thing is, they get called out on it, and then they're just backpedaling. Like, I didn't mean like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, shut the fuck up. Yeah. You said what you said. Yeah. You got called out on it. Own your shit and shut the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this is why I said that Twitter of Time proved, and I mean Twitter of Time like Twitter of Time, proved the horseshoe theory, because last season you had a lot of people who were very much intending to be homophobic and very much intending to make that deep and cutting remark about Taylor and about Maxim and Yvonne's character. This season, like, the people who came for Taylor, having interacted with them, I don't perceive homophobia innate in their character, but they have become so ingrained in this toxic entitlement sort of mentality that they horseshoed criticism of the show, and they are now indistinguishable from book cloaks who are bigots, because they are feeding into the same narrative. The way they are expressing themselves, they are feeding into the exact same narrative that caused Taylor to sort of lash out. I don't know if lashing out is even the right term. Defend himself last season. And yeah, like James said, like, they just don't like being called out on it. Like, you can't just say random shit and then say, oh, so we're not allowed to critique the show anymore? Like, no, critique the show. Think through I know I'm going on a long rant, I'm sorry. Think through your opinions. Okay, I want more rant. So what does that mean? Okay, maybe I say the show needs a longer runtime, or maybe give Rafe another episode or another 2 episodes. Like, think a little bit before you start feeding into a homophobic and in regards to Alana, a racist narrative. That's all I'm saying.
There's two things that I want to add also. One thing that they were unlucky about is that some people also have criticisms that it's Ivan who died. Because it's a black man and there's not a lot of dark-skinned black men on the show, which I fully understand. It's not really the show's fault that this actor got a better offer elsewhere and left to do a season on TV shows in which apparently it was really great. It's very hard to handle recast. They recasted Ivan for 15 minutes because, hey, you can't swap black men and think it's fine.
Right.
People are different. And I mean, it was already a big struggle for Matt when he got recasted like in season 2. They basically dressed him the same way so that people would understand it was the same person. Recast works when that person showed up in one episode, but Ivan, we had seen him since beginning of season 1, more or less. The second thing that I want to mention also is that some book readers still don't see that this show is not the books.
Right.
And it's never going to be the books because this show is giving a specific story. And from the start, like, in my opinion, the show is never going to be 100% centered on the EF5. And some people still expect that. And as a result, get annoyed whenever other people get some attention. But the show from the start, like their pitch was about Moraine finding those boys and bringing them on an adventure. The center was that older woman who did that. As a result, in the pitch of the show, there was a focus a bit more important on the older generation, which means we're like, no matter what happened to Moraine, for example, because we've been talking about Moraine maybe dying and this kind of thing, no matter what happened to her, there's still going to be a focus put on other Aes Sedai, other like older people in the show. And that's still going to happen. And if whenever you see a scene with none of the EF5, if whenever you see one of the scenes you start getting mad at that, you're going to be mad for however long the show keeps going. Because that's not going to stop.
Yeah.
And it's like, I mean, I think maybe one thing people can focus on is like, leave yourself open to other parts of the show that you may not have thought you'd be interested in.
You're asking too much.
Maybe. I'm being too hopeful. It's too much.
Like, we didn't care about the Aiel and we're enjoying that.
I am loving the Aiel. Like, I am loving what they are doing with the Aiel on the show. I'm genuinely appreciating that, and I was not expecting it at all.
Like, famously, the Queers of Time do not love the Aiel.
Yes. Exactly.
Famously, we do not like the Aiel. And yet here we are, grown adult.
Look at us. You know what that is?
Being like, you know what? They're doing a great job with the Aiel.
Growth.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
The show is not going to be a one-for-one take on the characters even. Like, plot aside, it's not going to be a one-for-one with the characters because the characters are products of their time. And a lot of characters, there just isn't enough time. Robert Jordan didn't have enough time to, like, explore their psychology because this wasn't this was not a psychologically deep series. I'm not saying that as a dig. I'm just saying like it's very much about the world building, about the story, and about trauma. But like TV shows, characters have got to be relatable to audiences. And if so many people like root against or just don't give a shit about the Wise Ones because they are sort of one note for most of the series. But now we have some slightly different interpretations of the Wise Ones that make them very compelling and interesting characters. So, I don't know.
Brie had a very interesting thread about that on Blue Sky. And so the gist of it was very much, if you're coming into this show thinking you know what stories they're going to tell, you're going to miss a lot because whenever what they're presenting to you is different from the story you're expecting, you're going to be confused. If you're not willing to open yourself a little bit to the stories they're trying to say, you're always going to be missing things out. And there's some themes that have been recurring in the show that seems to be things they want to talk about. Grief is one of them.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Women getting stabbed by a whole bunch of stuff is another one of them.
Yeah, it's happened a shocking amount of times.
Getting back to this episode.
Yes.
Getting back to the Two Rivers arc, I felt it was a little, not a lot, and not in a way that like ruined it for me. It's still a phenomenal episode, but a little excessive with the violence in the Two Rivers scene. Like, so seeing Natty Cawthon like graphically burned, her tongue cut out, followed by or preceded by, I don't know, Alana like just getting the ever-loving shit shot out of her with arrows, took me a little bit out of it. Yes, the Wheel of Time is very sanitized when it comes to violence in the books, and yes, this is TV, and this is not Lord of the Rings. There's going to be violence, there's going to be death, murder, etc. I just sometimes like, let's pump the brakes a little bit with how gratuitous we are with the violence. Just a little bit.
Yeah, it's if Game of Thrones is at one end of one scale and Lord of the Rings is at one other, like Wheel of Time is kind of definitely in the middle, and it's true for violence. It's true also for like sex and nudity, I would say. The positioning of all three shows kind of the same on both scales. Personally, I didn't mind Natty's death, but I could have done with a less gory display because that was like, I feel like, for example, if it had been Game of Thrones, you would have seen the torture and the actual burning of Natty. So I'm glad at least we skipped that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was still a bit much, I would say. So I understand people being like weirded out is not the right term, but wincing a little bit at that, I would say. Yeah.
So I'm not really, I don't like violence. I don't like horror. For those specific reasons, like it's not something that I enjoy watching. However, there have to be stakes for this. There have to be stakes in order for this to be compelling and in order for people to care. And what a very good way to show stakes and to show how high the stakes are, it's scenes like this. The scene with Alana, I actually thought that was kind of badass. To be completely honest with you, I was like, she is a fucking tank. Like, she is a fucking tank. She was going to crawl over to them and do what she needed to. Like, she is like, I was so impressed with that. I actually really, really liked that scene. I thought it was I think it was a really important thing to show of Alana's character as well, because that it's something we've seen before with Leandrin, and how like she was going to take out Leandrin no matter what. And I think we see that with this scene as well, where like she is determined as hell. And it's such a good depiction, I think, of who the Green Aja is at their core. Yeah. Like they are determined motherfuckers. Like they go hard and they are not letting anything stop them. Yeah, I don't know.
No, I think that's a very valid point. I think my hang up was that we got those two scenes sort of back to back, and that's when it sort of felt excessive. I think I also have baggage from season 1 still, where Loyal and Uno and everybody else was basically just shanked to death at the very end of episode 8. Nynaeve sort of almost burns out. So we have these scenes of people like almost dying, but not really. But I think I also have to get used to the idea that a lot of characters are going to go through stuff that would kill a normal person, but because they have these magic abilities and the ability to heal or be healed, like Alana, they're going to be pulled back from the brink of death a lot more often.
Yeah.
So I agree and I understand. I still think, like, I think stakes have been established, and I think that you can establish stakes without being gratuitous about it. And this is a very mild criticism of the Natty burning scene. I didn't like it at first, but I sat on it for a few days. I'm like, you know what? This is a good conclusion for her story. I don't know. I don't know what...
I mean, to be fair, like, not to cut you off, sorry, I was also super shocked. My note was they killed Natty Cawthon. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah.
I thought about it, and one thing that I found interesting is that in last season, Perrin killed Dane's father. And Natty's death is a direct repercussion of that. So it kind of goes back to the discussions that he had with the Tel'aran'riod in season 1 about the cycle of violence, like violence breeding violence. And I think it was interesting to see that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then you have Dane Bornhold, because Perrin is like, I thought you were a good man, and Dane Bornhold says, I was before you. And I'm just thinking of all of these men that don't go to therapy, that blame other people for their problems.
Oh my God, right?
Yep.
These men
Yep,
and these
yep.
Twitterers need to go to therapy. I swear.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I agree with you, because we got Elida being stabbed very violently and being healed. We got Natty Cawthon being burned to death, and then we got Alana being pierced by all of these arrows.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, that's a lot of violence against women for one episode.
Yeah.
It is.
Oh, yes, true. There was also that stabbing. I've completely forgot about that.
I did forget about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it happened like 15 minutes prior to this
Yes.
Yeah.
scene.
True.
So it's a lot in one episode.
It
It's-
is, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel, I don't know. And Rafe did say, I believe somewhere Rafe said that there are going to be characters who lived in this series that will die, and there are characters who died in the books that will live. He said that. So it's something that I'm expecting, and I'm not so shocked that
Yeah.
Natty was killed off. It was, like I said, it was a good character arc. I just please ease the brakes a little bit with how gratuitous the violence is.
Yeah, it's like Nynaeve being stabbed 11 times and then being healed. Does it need it to be 11 times? I can't believe that someone missed the hurt 11 times.
It didn't need to be 11 times.
Not a very effective gray man.
No, these gray men are not great.
Greyman, that doesn't seem very effective. They seem pretty brainless.
They just seem pretty messy.
Mogedion needs to step up her game.
Mogedion is not doing it right.
My queen is trying her best. So like there comes a point like when you almost kill somebody but then pull them back via healing, it sort of starts to lose its effect as well.
Yeah, that's true. Like anything can be healed save death
Yeah.
is a saying in the books.
Mm-hmm.
But it does kind of lose its meaning after a while.
Yeah. I did wanted to mention that I loved Fail's fighting style
Mm-hmm.
because it's very much tiny person using the opponent's weight to go with it, and it worked really well. I'm proud of her. She's badass. I love
Yeah,
her.
she was great.
And that's the magic of the show. Like I did not like Fail from like the first page of meeting her in the books, but I'm just so enjoying her in the show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm realizing, and this isn't a book spoiler. In the books, I don't hate Fail. I hate Fail and Perrin together.
Mm-hmm.
And that is being quickly mended in here because it seems like they're much more of a partnership
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
than they are in the books.
100%.
And also, like, you don't have the internal POV of Perrin smelling Fail.
Yeah, let's keep the only smelling to the smelling of letters
Yes.
by Suan.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, Adeleas sniffing roses.
The roses.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, I was just wondering, does Moraine like put that in her vagina, the letter?
Oh, you think she's sniffing? You think it's pussy juice that she's sniffing?
Actually, I'm ashamed of saying that, but I thought about that too. I thought about making a joke about
Like, where is
what pussy juice is Moraine putting on her letters.
what pussy juices are on that
I
letter?
assumed it was like perfume.
Moraine does not wear perfume. Moraine is a dyke. Moraine does not wear perfume.
She is.
I wear
She is.
perfume.
I'm not saying anything. Do you see me saying anything? I'm not saying anything.
Should we move on to book spoilers now?
No, we still have
No,
one whole.
we still have a whole plot line to talk about.
We still have the detective agency.
Oh Christ.
We have the Amira Trakand Detective Agency plus Matt and also Min.
Well, let's move on to
Thankfully, it's
At sea.
the shortest section for me.
Yes.
let's move on to that because
Nynaeve hating this trip is giving me
Oh
life.
my god.
Mhm.
She is absolutely miserable and it made me so happy.
I know.
I can't explain it.
She didn't want Nynaeve to throw herself overboard. Is that an option?
Is it an option? My girl is miserable. She's hating every minute of it. It's like, I love the to put Matt and Min and Elaine and Nynaeve together. Who am I missing? My god.
It's so good.
I love the decision to put all four of them together. It feels like something that should have happened in the books.
Mhm.
Like, it
Yeah.
feels so natural.
Matt and Elaine bickering.
Oh my
Mm.
Oh,
god.
gosh.
Oh,
Gold.
It was really well done.
yeah, it's so
Um,
good.
I was so happy to find out that they were on a sea folk ship, and then so disappointed to find out that the sea folk were wearing tops.
Me too. I was like, where are the titties? Show me the titties.
I'm like, I guess there is some puritanical bullshit in Rafe Judkins' Wheel of Time.
Maybe they wait until daytime.
No, I don't think it's puritanical.
I know.
It's practical. I'm sorry. Having your boobs hanging out on a boat must suck, considering the amount of ropes you have to manipulate on a boat.
I guess that's true.
God, rope burn on the nipple, that would suck.
Oof, that would suck.
Ooh,
Ouch.
yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
I did love the jewelry, though. The jewelry was super accurate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very good. It's I kind of almost cried watching it, like watching it, and a couple of times in this episode, but like, see, I don't know what it was about seeing the sea folk specifically that made me emotional, but I got really emotional seeing, like, realizing they're on a sea folk ship, and then also seeing Windfind. Like, it was so beautiful.
It was.
The channeling. It was so beautiful.
The channeling was so well done there. It's really felt like, how do you say that in English? Aurora Borealis or something like that?
Aurora Borealis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so wild and free.
And the music.
Wait, isn't Aurora Borealis, like, from the French? It sounds French.
I think it might be Latin.
Aurore Boreal in
I
French.
think it's Latin.
Yeah, it's
I
Latin.
think Aurora Borealis is Latin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Which is the progenitor language for all the languages that
Yes.
we're speaking right now. So, but anyways,
Yes.
More or less.
more or less.
I loved how broad the sea folk channeling was.
Mhm.
Like, because it was all over that ship, whereas Aes Sedai channeling is very narrow and pointed.
Yeah.
I just
It's so good.
It was
Well, except for Alana doing the channeling of the fog looked
That-
somewhat similar.
Ooh, it
Yeah.
looks, that also.
So the weather channeling is very cool.
yeah.
I like weather channeling.
Yeah, extremely cool.
Yeah, maybe it's weather channeling that looks like
Could
that.
be. Yeah.
Interesting.
Sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's fine. That's totally fine. I don't know what I was gonna say. I was just gonna say it was beautiful, and it gave me a sense of wild and free, and not tamed by needless boundaries. Is what that gave me.
I loved everything that the sail mistress was saying.
Mhm.
Like, she clocked Nynaeve and Elaine very hard.
Mhm.
Everything about, like, you are of the mountains, make your legs soft, let the boat move while you stay still.
Mhm.
Like, doesn't have to see her for more than 2 seconds, and she's like, "You're a mountain dyke."
Yes.
Yep. Yep. And then, like, when they see the channeling, there are many ways to be a channeler, many ways to be a woman.
It's so good.
I love that line.
I love that line.
Oh my god. It's just I love what the show is doing in showing in the representations of not just channeling, but also different cultures and what being a woman in different cultures means. And showing that through channeling. It's really impressive. And it's like, I think for Nynaeve specifically, it was important for her to hear this, because this is so opposite to what Nynaeve is as a person. Like this, like seeing like the sea folk, they're on opposite ends of the spectrum from Nynaeve, but she needs this in order to figure out a way through her block. And this is an important piece of that sort of equation for her, I think. And she applies it. She's able to apply it because her seasickness does get a little bit better. She's able to actually, like, talk and exist without, puking constantly. Yeah, it was so beautiful. It was really, really well done.
I find it very interesting that in the first 2 seasons, the show really established what the One Power is and how it works according to the White Tower and the Aes Sedai. And now in this season, we are discovering the Aiel and the Wisemount, and we are discovering the Sea Folk and the Windfinder. And we are finding out that the White Tower doesn't know everything about the One Power, and that it's not... The rules are not as strict as we think. There are many ways to channel, and I really like that.
In addition to that, we're also seeing the Black Aja. And the Black Aja is a great, like, most of them, yes, are White Tower trained. Or, well, they're all White Tower trained, but they also have a different way of using the One Power that we don't see previously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A much more violent way, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
One sentence I really liked also from the Sail Mistress: one of you fights to hold where you stand, while one wants to see to take her off the path that's been chosen. Like, it's both about Elaine and Nynaeve trying to keep control of everything that's going on, and Elaine just wants to be free of responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Elaine just wants to be a woman in STEM fucking her girlfriend.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and absolutely valid. Like, girl, approved.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I like the Sail Mistress being like, and you are one who doesn't like to give up control, and Elaine just snorts.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Sail Mistress turns to Elaine and was like, "Let me tell you about you now."
Yep.
And Elaine shut right up after that.
Yep.
God, I love the Sea Mistress. She clocked them both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very good.
So one thing I loved about Matt and Min, like, I love their dynamics, and I love how they're writing Matt. Like, he is such a soft and kind-hearted person, but like refuses to let anyone even think that he might be soft and kind-hearted. So like, Min is clearly terrified about her visions and what they mean, and Matt's very like, okay, well, this is bad. I don't want Min to feel bad. So what do? I will insult her visions, and I will insult her power and make her think that her powers are shite and that they don't predict shite. And then that is how I will make her feel better. It's a very Matt way of comforting somebody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And at the same time, like, Matt trusts Min. Nynaeve asked Matt whether Min can be trusted, which Nynaeve asking someone else whether you can trust someone, well, maybe she's finally starting to let some of that control go.
Mm-hmm.
She's growing. She's growing up. I love it.
Growth.
And Matt actually saying, yes, I trust Min. That was really good for all of them. And Min, like, basically following them because now she understands that her visions, yes, they're gonna happen, but not always in the way she thinks they're gonna happen. So even if Matt may hang, maybe there's a way for her to still save him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that would be nice.
Yeah, because that, Matt, yes, Matt was very much trying to make Min feel better. He could see how disturbed that she was by this, but like, he also had a very good point. He didn't end up killing Rand.
Yeah.
That's not what happened. And so I think Min took some of that to heart. And it's obvious that Matt is still very much concerned about this, because as soon as he turns away from Min, he's like, "Oh my God, this is stressful."
Yeah, he was affected by that.
Yeah, and which understandable, but I think Min is sort of recognizing that as well. That, like, okay, there are ways that I like that we're seeing Min almost kind of discover more about this ability.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not completely solidified like it is in the books, if that makes sense, where like she knows exactly how it works, she knows what's good, like, she, you know what I mean, like, she's more learning as she goes, and it seems like this part of it, she's beginning to figure out that, oh yeah, this might kind of happen, but not the way that I think it's going to.
Yeah. My last note about the Seafolk part, I'm not sure whether we want to talk about that or not. Like, do we want to talk about Seafolk casting or not? Because I know some folks kind of wanted more dark-skinned people there.
I mean...
but, I mean, I'm curious whether the show tried to avoid, like, the exotic black people trope instead.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, they're casting Malagasy people, which I kind of like. So...
It also doesn't mean that we won't get that.
Yeah.
This is the first time that we're seeing them.
This is one ship.
Yeah, this is one ship.
Yeah.
But it's...
And there were some dark-skinned people there.
Mm-hmm. There were different skin tones. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so,
But yeah, I didn't find it interesting that both of the speaking role were Malagasy people. So I'm curious whether they're trying to base Seafolks on Austronesian people.
Yeah.
Which would be interesting.
Yeah.
My usual take on colorism discourse is to not really talk about it and let darker skinned people take the forefront of that conversation. This Seafolk discourse has been a bit of an exception because a lot of people on Twitter, of course it's Twitter, were very angry and saying that the Seafolk have been destroyed and ruined because and they've been whitewashed. And I'm like, well, we've seen 2 speaking Seafolk characters so far. And also I feel like a lot of American, United States colorism discourse erases anyone who is not black. It ignores ignores.
But also those people are black.
Yes.
Like, they may not be dark skinned,
Yes.
but they're black. They're from Madagascar. Like, I mean, it's half Malagasy for both of those, but
Right. Yeah, I'm talking like generally.
Yeah. I think there's I think that a lot of North Americans fall into the trap of thinking that there is only one way to visually appear black. And so when they think black, they think African American.
Mm-hmm.
And that is their thought process for that this is what you look like. And that is not the case.
Right.
That's not the case. And also, I mean, now we're getting into the difference between race and ethnicity, and like it's like there are differences in that. But I think people need to chill a little bit. I think sometimes people get really like they get really they jump on things a little bit too quickly without seeing the full picture. And I understand that impulse, but a lot of the time it's not even people of color who are doing this. And I think there's almost a desire to overcompensate sometimes. And I get it because there's a guilt that comes along with it. Because, you know, people, not white people, are aware that colorism is a problem that exists and that there's a lack of people of color in fantasy, in TV, in television in general. And so they almost overcompensate with getting upset when anything is not, you know what I mean? Like if things don't perfectly line up, and you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
I think just let the show sort of tell the story, because we don't know. This is like James said, this is literally one ship. You know. Yeah.
I mean, I just, this reaction is not proportional.
Mm-hmm.
This reaction would be warranted if they cast Tuon as a white person.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's not what's happening here.
And I think, again, I saw most of this criticism on Twitter. I did see one colorism thing on Blue Sky, but it was more of a nuanced take. I have no idea who did it. I forgot, because I forget that shit easy. But like, Twitter seems, oh God, I hate this term. I truly hate this term. A lot of the colorism discourse from white people on Twitter was very much virtue signally, but even more than that, very white knight. And I do know some of the, I'm not gonna, obviously we don't name names here on the Queers of Time, but I did see some white accounts being very much offended on behalf of non-white people. I'm like, maybe just see what non-white folks have to say about this before you tell everybody how to feel about this.
Like I said, personally, I'm more offended that they were wearing tops.
Yeah.
But
right.
Same.
Because boobs.
Show me the boobs.
Because tits are cool.
Tits.
Yeah.
On this big tits are cool, which is a statement that I approve. Should we want to move to book spoilers?
Yes.
My God.
This is our longest episode ever.
We are at 143.
That's fine. I'm the one doing the post-prod, and I am actually enjoying that conversation. So,
okay, good.
yeah, we are going to switch to book spoilers. If you have not read the books, it's time to leave.
Yeah.
Bye.
Is there anything you want to start with? I have a few notes. None of them are particularly big, but...
Oh, I have a note about Alcera. Alcera's gonna die.
Oh.
Yeah.
That little girl is totally gonna die, right?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned the little girl in the rest of the episode, but she's gonna die.
She's going to be the girl in tear.
Yeah, 100%.
She is 100% going to be the girl in tear.
Yep.
She is going to be the downfall. It is going to be tragic.
She is going to start Rand's stupid fucking list.
Yeah. As soon as I saw her and saw how cute that Rand was being with her, I was like, oh my God. Oh no.
Yeah.
She's gonna die.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rip.
Wasn't that... I liked seeing the Sarkhanum because I can't wait to see Nynaeve like killing with it. Not killing with it, but like being badass with it and not struggling with the power.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is kind of what they're trying to set up. I'm assuming that at some point Nynaeve may get up the Sarkhanum for some of the big things she's doing later on.
It could be.
Who knows?
Oh, okay. I was trying to think. I'm like, why the fuck would she get the Sarkhannon? And then I'm like, oh, the cleansing of Sidene.
Yes, yeah, the cleansing.
The taint.
Yeah.
Yep. It's always good to clean your taint.
Exactly.
Agreed.
Wow.
Thought
He's getting nasty.
My gosh.
I thought Lanfear hunting Egwene and Tel'aran'riod was a great plot addition.
Mhm.
And,
Oh my god, yeah.
it adds so much to the show, or so to the stakes, with so little effort.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so in character.
Yes.
God,
Yeah.
I love Lanfear.
There are quite a few things.
Does this needed to be in book spoiler, or am I missing something?
It just wasn't in the, it was in the books. It wasn't in the book.
Okay,
I don't know.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. It's just because I'm like, are you insinuating that it's going to lead to something that I can't see or not? But that's fine. Yeah.
No, it was just, it didn't happen in the books. So
Yeah, it's good. I like that.
Melindra, I'm not attached to Melindra. Is anyone attached to Melindra? Because I don't give a shit about her.
Not yet. But I also didn't
Whatever.
I didn't super care about her in the books either, though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not.
I think it's interesting for Lan to have someone he can talk about Malkia
Yeah.
with.
Mm-hmm.
And she's funny, but well, yeah,
She's fine.
I don't really care so far.
Yeah, she's fine. Can we the Black Asha?
Mhm.
Yep.
Who is it?
I think
The missing Black Aja sister.
Yeah. Is it Alviera that they're talking about?
Alviren or Galena, I think.
Or Galena?
Perrin.
Yeah. Or it's
I don't think it's Verin.
Yeah.
Because
I doubt it's Varen.
I think Verin is smart enough to have isolated herself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or Varen immediately figured out who her heart was and killed them all.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
It could
Varen
be.
probably figured
Yeah.
out who her heart was and killed them.
Just straight up being like, oopsies. Sorry, the Dark One.
Sorry. LOLs. Yeah, I think Varen's low on my list because she's a triple agent for the light.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
her reveal as Black Aja, but not really Black Aja, is very much a late series thing.
Mhm.
So my money is on Galena or Alvier, and also my money is that it's not just them. Like that's
no.
Oh, yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's more. Like it's so we know Galena and Alvier, unless they've changed Alvieren's role, which I doubt they have, or Galena's, which I doubt they have.
And I don't think that they would be talking about Sheriam.
Oh, Sheriam.
But because she's not in this season, and we know she's not in this season, I doubt that it's her that they're talking that is
Mhm.
being referred to. So I think my money is more on Galena
Mhm.
than Alviren, just because I can see I think Alviren would know to keep herself.
Yeah, if this Alvieren,
Yeah,
Alviren is ahead.
yeah,
So
Yeah.
one thing that I'm curious about is that right now they're making the assumption that there's one other Black Aja sister. I think Swan and the rest probably guess that it may not be all of them.
Oh, yeah. Swan says at least.
But I'm curious whether Elida is going to be convinced
Yes.
that there's going to be a single one, and then the coup's going to happen, and she's going to say, oh, I think that was her, and then say, oh, there's no more Black Aja in my tower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like I think what this episode established quite well is that Elida is ruthless, and she is a dog with a bone. Like she goes, but she gets that tunnel vision. Like she gets so focused on a thing that she is not able to see other bits and pieces that could be helpful, including her into things. Like if she had paid enough attention, she probably could have figured out that Swan was leading her to, like, she could have figured out what Swan was doing, but because she is so focused on her goal and she is so sure of her, she is unbelievably overconfident, which I think it's good that they're establishing this now, because it is an important part of her character for sure.
Yeah, I think the contrast between Amirling Swan and Amirling Elida are going to be pretty amazing.
Oof, yeah. Yep.
Big contrasts there to come.
Yep.
Yeah, I personally think that the coup is going to happen. I think, well...
There's a lot.
I think it'll happen... there's a lot. There's a lot that has to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the coup is definitely going to happen this season. I just am curious as to like how, because Elida is being so open with her plans.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious what's going to happen. Like in the books, what happened is that there's a vote about Rand that Swan wins. And then immediately after, Elida gets like a restricting meeting with a few seats that is just above the limit in order to depose Swan. So I'm curious whether it could be something like that.
It could be, yeah.
I am wondering, because I think after the coup, we're not going to see more of the White Tower. At least that's because there's just so much fallout from the coup. So my thought is that, so this is my theory for episode 8. Episode 8 is going to be the Battle of Tyr. It's going to be the taking of Kalimdor and fulfilling that prophecy.
I don't think we're seeing Tyr.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see Tyr this season.
Maybe not.
Because the thing is that there's still one big thing that is missing from book 4, and it's Rand becoming the Caracan in Alcaia there, where there is a battle with Forsaken. So, and there's still like the Cúlóden issue to deal. And so the thing is that we're at episode 5. Episode 6, it's going to be a lot of Tenchiko. Episode 7, it's entirely the Two Rivers. And episode 8, they still need for Rand to become the Caracan.
Yeah, there's no time.
They need Tenchiko to finish. I don't think we'll see the Two Rivers.
Yeah.
And they need some coup. Because I'm kind of assuming that there's going to be a coup in this episode 8, because there's kind of like 2 cold opens that we haven't seen yet. One with Liandrin very young and the baby, like we saw a still of that, which I'm assuming is also when Ishamel may show up or something like that. And there's some images that we are assuming it's going to be Swan being raised to the seat, which I feel like would be a good cold open for episode 8. That would then end with either fully the coup or the start of the coup. I think
the coup is going to be split up between the end of episode 8 and the beginning of season 4. I don't think we're going to see. I think it will end on a cliffhanger, and we're not going to see the end of, not necessarily a cliffhanger at the end of the episode, but like at the end of that plot line. I think we'll see, like, it'll end on a cliffhanger of like what happens with Swan, and then we'll see the resolution of it in season 4. Because that's a very good point. There's not enough time to cover, like you said, episode 7 is all Battle of Two Rivers. They need that whole episode for that. Episode 6 is going to be, the majority of it is going to be Tenchiko. I would be surprised if we saw like a lot more, like maybe bits and pieces of the Aiel Waste, but
maybe bits of pieces as well of the Two Rivers to finish a few things. And for the Aiel Waste, I'm expecting like the repercussion of Egwene seeing Lanfear Rand's dream, like some conclusion of that plot aspect, like a discussion with Rand and Egwene. I'm expecting kind of that in episode 6.
Yeah,
but not much more.
Because she says there's that bit in the I think in the trailer where she's asking him, "Do you love her?" And we haven't gotten that yet.
I'm expecting to see that next episode.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's a good point. We're I don't think we're getting Tyr this season. I think it's going to be in early season 4 when we get the news about renewal. So give us that renewal, please, and thank you.
Yeah, we really need that. Other few things, like minor thing, we show like Egwene's Armialin armor. It's always nice when there's another Armialin's Egwene mention. Min doing research.
Yeah,
that's something that I find interesting, because Min is doing a lot of research towards the later books that people kind of mistake as being a lamp, because apparently doing paperwork is not good enough work for the last battle or whatever.
You know what you need to read? A lamp.
I kind of hate you for that joke, but it's actually a good one. Yeah, but I like that she's researching a vision and trying to figure out what could happen and how she can be useful there.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Is there anything else?
I think that's pretty much it for me. Like, yes, set up for Nynaeve to break her block, but we kind of already talked about that in the rest. I had like a slight note about Natty that I kind of prefer that it's her who died here and not like Perrin's family, for example.
Yes.
we don't need to kill a big like black family that we don't know about.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say that I was about to say that during the non book spoiler section. I was like, I'm just gonna leave this for the book spoiler section. But yeah, I think that was a better it was a better choice.
Yeah.
And they made it very clear that Perrin's family I think they said that they took them away from the Two Rivers, so they're safe.
Yeah.
Which is good.
There's a reason why Tam, Abel, and Bran are not there this season.
Yes. Yeah. Because I think that would be too much for Perrin's character also. Because he is just starting to heal from the killing his wife.
The death of his wife, so yeah.
That would be way too much, I think, for someone to realistically heal from.
Yeah, I agree with that.
But yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
Did I bring this up previously, or why is no one asking why Perrin was unaffected by Naomi's weave?
As in, why is no one on the show asking that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I think the answer is that Perrin is very
I guess
good.
because they don't know about it.
Yeah,
I mean...
like, the only person...
It was only Adelias and Perrin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So... And Perrin kind of protected herself against Naomi's weave. So maybe she just... Yeah.
I think Perrin is very good... she is very good at... throwing people off of her scent. She's very adept at it. And so, yeah. And there's also so much going on.
That's the whole mission of her life. So
yeah.
Swan has other issue in her head, and why did Perrin survive and not Adelias?
Swan is counting her blessings right now that Perrin survived. Like she's happy about that. So yeah.
Cool. Anything else?
That's all I had.
I don't think so.
If not, thank you very much for listening to this episode of The Quiz of Time. As always, you can find us on Blue Sky, a tiny bit on TikTok, apparently, and tiny bit on Instagram, apparently. A surprise. We are also on Tumblr, and we have a Discord that is very nice. You should join it so we can chat with you and you can chat with us or whatever. And if you want to support us, we have a Patreon. Support is always appreciated. And so if you like this podcast, share it with other people. It's always good when more people listen to us. Anyway, what else? Thank you and see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.
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 Thank you all for listening. This was Queers of Time, a Wheel of Time podcast. The music is Dance of the Witches by Julius H.